All right, let's talk about something that's probably draining your company's budget and absolutely wrecking your deadlines, even if you can't see it: bad code. Now, this isn't some deep dive for developers. Nope, this is for you, the business leaders, the decision makers, who are feeling the consequences of this problem every single day without ever having to look at a line of code. So I guess the first question we really need to ask is, how do you even know if your project is in trouble?
So, let's start with a quick checkup. I want you to think of your software, your big project, almost like it's a living thing. You know, when it's healthy, it grows, it adapts, it just works. But when it's sick, oh, it becomes the source of constant, nagging frustration. The real question is, can you spot the symptoms?
So do any of these sound familiar? You're trying to get a new feature out the door and boom, you're hit with yet another delay. Your budget for just maintaining the software keeps creeping up and up, eating away at the money you'd rather be spending on, innovation. And here's the one that's really maddening. When a tiny, supposedly simple update somehow ends up breaking something totally unrelated across the system. Look, these aren't just minor headaches. They are classic, textbook signs that there's a much deeper problem lurking underneath.
Okay, so if you're sitting there nodding your head to any of those symptoms, then it is absolutely time for a diagnosis. Because these business pains, the delays, the costs, the risks, they are almost always pointing to one specific underlying technical condition.
And here it is. The diagnosis is bad code. Now, the most important thing to get here is that bad code isn't code that's completely broken. In fact, it often works, on the surface. The real problem is that it's messy, it's fragile, it's disorganized. And that makes any future changes slow, incredibly expensive, and super risky. It's basically a hidden tax you're paying on every single thing you want to do with your software.
What I love about this slide is how it translates that tech jargon into what it actually means for your business. So when your tech team says the code is rigid, what they mean is you can't pivot quickly when the market changes. When they say it's fragile, that means you live in constant fear of the next update. Tightly coupled code, that's just a fancy way of saying a problem in one little corner creates a massive domino effect across the entire system. And unreadable code, well, that just means every new task takes forever because your developers have to basically become archaeologists just to figure out what's going on.
So, how on earth does a project even end up like this? It's almost never just one big mistake. Bad code is more like a chronic illness. It develops slowly, over time, because of a whole series of small and often pretty understandable decisions.
It usually starts with that intense pressure to hit an aggressive deadline, right? So the team takes some shortcuts. Then maybe there aren't clear standards, so different people start building things in totally different ways, and you end up with this chaotic mess. As your business grows, the pressure to add features fast leads to more of those duct tape solutions. And then, before you know it, you're stuck with a legacy system that everyone on the team is terrified to even touch. All right, so we've diagnosed the illness, and we've looked at the root causes. Now for the most important part, the treatment. When you're facing down a mountain of bad code, you, as a business leader, have to make a really critical strategic decision.
Your two main options are to refactor or to rewrite. Think of it like this. Refactoring is like a major home renovation. You're keeping the foundation and the structure, but you're cleaning up and reorganizing everything inside. It's perfect when the core ideas of your software are still totally solid. A rewrite, on the other hand, is a complete teardown and rebuild. It's a much bigger, more expensive project for sure, but sometimes it's the only way to go, especially when the very foundation is cracked.
So how do you make the right call for your business? This decision is not just technical, it is 100% strategic. It really boils down to these 4 questions. First, how stable is your current system? What are your real-world constraints on time and budget? Is the technology it's built on basically obsolete? And maybe most importantly, which path is going to set you up for future growth?
But here's the thing. Fixing the immediate problem is only half the battle. A one-time treatment is never going to work if you just go right back to the old habits that made the code sick in the first place. The real long-term solution here is to move from treatment to true preventative care.
And what that means is building a culture where quality is just non-negotiable. It starts by setting clear standards so everybody on the team knows what good actually looks like. It means having experts review code before it gets out there and causes a problem for your customers. You can even automate a lot of checks to act as your first line of defense. And this is crucial. You have to reinforce this culture by rewarding and recognizing the teams that build things the right way, not just the fastest way. And you can think of this as the immune system for your entire code base. Having strong testing is what ensures that when you fix a bug, it actually stays fixed. It's your best guarantee against old problems coming back to haunt you and your best defense against future illnesses.
So what's the final prognosis here? Well, by investing in code quality, you're not just paying off some abstract technical debt. You are making a strategic investment that can transform a huge liability into a genuine competitive advantage.
And the payoff is real. You can feel it. You move from this world of slow, stressful, unreliable deployments to one where you can release new features and updates quickly and with total confidence. That's speed to market. That is agility.
And here's the number that really hits the bottom line. It's been shown that developers can spend up to 40% of their time just dealing with bad code and technical debt. Just think about that. Imagine getting all that time back. With clean, well-structured code, that 40% isn't spent on frustrating bug fixes anymore. It gets reinvested into building the next great thing for your customers. It frees up your budget and your best people to focus on innovation, not just, keeping the lights on.
So the crucial point is this: dealing with bad code isn't a cost center, it's the foundation for your success. Investing in a healthy code base builds a stronger, faster, and much more resilient business that's ready to scale and innovate for years to come. So the question isn't really, can you afford to fix it anymore? It's, can you really afford not to?